you were about 20K in credit card debt. And then in November of 2023, you had your biggest month ever and closed $78,000.
Like when I got this deal, man, for the first 10 minutes, it was more like, After those 10 minutes, I just looked at my bank account and I just saw a little bit of a higher number of 43,000. Whoever has the most houses wins, but at the same time, what really matters is how you feel.
All right, so Ben, when you joined LevelUp about 6 months ago, I remember you told me that you were about 20K in credit card debt. You really put your back up against the wall just based on the circumstances you were in. Your business was just you hustling to do deals. And then in November of 2023, you had your biggest month ever and closed $78,000 in wholesale fees. So that's a pretty insane story. And I'd really just like you to start there and kind of unpack what that was like from when you were joining the program and where you were to your transition to where you are now.
Yeah. Well, I was in credit card debt before that, which I'm not planning on being again. But
that's good.
I when I joined, I had a few deals under contract, knowing how it works already when it comes to wholesaling. Since I didn't just started wholesaling when I joined the mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty confident that those deals are gonna close, and I would just get out of that. I had like a 33K month, that month when I joined, or like a few weeks after. So I knew that just joining the mentorship and paying a few thousand here won't really kill me. And that's pretty much the mindset that I had, when I started. Because when I started, I quit my full-time job, which was, as a basketball coach. And I started with actually 20K debt, 20K in credit card debt when I started. And that pretty much went up to a lot more, but but I just knew that it works, and I had a really, really good understanding that this works, and I saw the proof in my eyes before I had the proof of concept of getting the first deal. So I knew all I needed to do is just put in the time. But that's why when I joined, I really knew that as long as I get the knowledge, I already know I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer for me to join, and then things kicked in. I got the tools from you guys, and and just learned a few things here and there to implement and put it into the business, and got that 78,000 a month, and it was actually really close to being 110,000. I had two deals that didn't go through because of like title stuff on the seller side. It was two deals. Each one were going to be a 15K, and they didn't close at the end. So I almost hit that 100K, but we're getting
that'd have been pretty freaking sick, dude. That's insane.
I was hoping, man, and it's all good. Sooner or later we'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there for sure. So, and I think that's like one of the things I admire about you the most, Ben, is like, dude, literally, like, and like I like this is like seriously, dude, you grind. Like when we were at the Denver event and just like talking face to face about like all the things you're doing, like the time you're putting in, like the hours you're working. It's like you do put the work in. I think that's one of the things that you do really, really well, and it's like why you have confidence in your abilities is because, and I'm sure this comes from basketball, because when we played basketball at the Denver event, you were by far like I think you said you played D1, but you're like insanely good. So
D2.
You put the work D2. Okay, so close enough. But you put the work in that sport, and like I think you just knew that you could translate the same thing to business. So like talk about it. When you went from being by yourself, when you're just you kind of had figured out how the business works, and you just need like the recipe, or so to say, to do. What were some of the first things you did in your business to give you some more momentum to start closing some more deals?
Well, definitely the first thing I needed is really just having that person, like a mentor, basically, is what I needed. When I joined, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. All I knew is as long as I do, I'm going to get results eventually. And just my grind, that I know that I have because of basketball. And, I was a type of like kid that would go and play for hours every day. Mm-hmm. And when I say every day, it's like I'm like the one that comes first and leaves last. It's kind of like, those Kobe, whatever videos you hear that apparently didn't make it. But, I knew I had that grind in me. So all I just didn't know is anything about real estate. So it's kind of like the mindset thing was already there. The work ethic, grit, what they call it, it was already there. It's just knowing what to do, and that's what was missing. So I just needed that mentor to teach me how to do it, and then I got things going. Funny story, how I got into this was, when I was coaching basketball full time, I had three guys, and they were adults, that I was training like twice a week, and they were doing real estate. I don't know anything about what they were doing, and two of them showed up with their nice cars. I was like, all right, this is a nice car. It doesn't really mean much, everyone can get a nice car. And then, after one of the trainings, one of the guys that was doing, real estate, he talked to me and one of the other guys that wasn't doing real estate, and he just said like, yeah, I remember like, I remember when I was, my first deal was like 17,500, and I thought that was a lot. Now I'm about to close on a deal that's like 200,000, and we just looked at each other and we were like, what the fuck is this guy? Like, where did this guy come from? And what he makes it seem like it's like chunk change, and we were just in shock. So I just started to ask questions since then, and I just literally got into like, I don't know what even to call it, but in my head I was just like, I gotta know what the hell is going on here. There's something like behind the scenes here that I need to figure out. So I just talked to one of them, and then 2 days later I show up in his office, and there's like 15, 20 people there. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And I walk into the office, and one of the guys, he's like the CEO there that I was training. So I knew, like, because I'm giving him value, he's gonna want to help me. Like, I'm teaching him how to play basketball, and he's having fun. He's loving it. So he's gonna want to help me, like, in a way, if I want to put in the work. So I don't need to pay like thousands of dollars to start learning. So I walk in there. I walk into his private office, and he's like, Ben, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I'm so fucking bored. I don't know what the hell, like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, everyone's like, calling, dialing, and putting the work in, and he's just like, he's not sure what to do with himself. So I was just like, this guy's serious, man. By the way, that's like, his name is Raul Balufish. Shout out to that guy. Like, thankful for him. Like, he really helped me a ton. Literally changed my life. But yeah, basically, since then he put me basically on the cold calling there. First day, I got a lead. I was excited. Nothing happened. But, since then, that's basically how I started. Got my first deal after 5 months, was a lot of time that put into it. Yeah, it was.
Because this is after hours of like you coaching, right?
So that's another thing, man. Like, I said, fuck this, man. I just quit. I just quit the coaching, and that's why I got into more credit card debt. But you know what? It was worth it because I knew my whole focus was on wholesaling, on real estate, and that's how I actually like learned a lot more. I would say quicker, in a way that I failed more and more and more to learn more quicker. I know the average like probably would say that. I think that's like the average to get a first deal. I would say there's some people that got deals, from what I heard, like after like 8-9 months, their first deal. And then I heard someone got like 3 contracts in the first month. I'm like, what the hell is this guy on, man? Like, that's crazy. What? But at the same time, I was just cold calling for like 5 months, not knowing anything. So that's probably why. But that's how I got into it. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's kind of like.
That's pretty crazy that just some dude you were training in basketball basically like took you under his wing and took you to his office and was like, hey, dude, you should start doing this, basically. And like started calling for me, and that's
he saw how much I wanted it, and at the same time, I didn't really realize that 3 of them were doing the same thing. So I basically had like 3 people that were willing to help me, but I really had found the one that really, he was more generous in a way of like wanting to give in that way. But definitely like, it was all me. Like, he didn't try to put me as one of like the acquisitions guy or cold calling for his company. Like, he was already set. It's not like he needed that or something, but he could have. but he understands the situation that I was in, and I wanted to be the business owner, and that would not change. Like I wouldn't go and sit in an office 9 to 5. Like I already went out of that life. As a basketball coach, I was basically free to live my own lifestyle. So, that's that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. So basically, he set you up. He's like, "Hey, dude, your direction is like go cold call. Here's a list, maybe if he did, or if not, just go buy this list." And you start ripping the phones, close the deal, and then now let's just fast forward. These are the deals that deal, and then maybe one or two more that you got were the ones that you were closing right as you were joining LevelUp, right?
No. That was last year of March.
Okay.
Like 2022. That was day one of when I got into wholesaling and not knowing a thing. That's when I went into his office and just say, all right, what are we doing? So
what was the biggest? So basically, like from getting because you had about like one or two deals. You were doing about 20, 30, sometimes 40K a month, like right as you were joining. Yep. What were some of the first key things you did in your business then to go towards being able to have a month of almost $80,000?
Since when I started with you guys?
Yeah, just like it doesn't necessarily have to be things that we did, just things that you did in your business.
Well, I mean, you guys definitely helped me, Braden, especially with implementing a few things. The first thing that I noticed that really made a big change was tracking the KPIs. I just kind of like estimated in my head what was going on. It was more like, all right, as long as I make 5 offers a day, I'm going to be good. Like that was pretty much the mindset of I knew I'm getting deals done.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough, and especially once we got that sheet of the KPI sheet and started to track that, that definitely showed a lot of where we can fix things in the business and see what's wrong after like a few weeks, and adjust according to that. That's one of them. And then installing the CRM. And thankfully I joined at a good time, I would say, that you guys recommended Close. And then because, you guys just started recommending that, and then everyone was like on Podio already or whatever other CRM. And then you guys, they pretty much wanted to transfer to Close. So I didn't need to do that transfer. I just pretty much joined Close already. So that was freaking, helpful. I would say change the whole sorry, it's blowing up my ears. 1 second. Do not disturb. That was pretty much what I would say started the change of having an organized business and just learning from the mistakes. Because for me it was like I was just like, in a way I knew I was doing good, but I didn't know how I can take things to another level where I can say, okay, this is how we can double the revenue. And now I'm thinking the same way, but I already know the answers because of the KPIs, and I know how many people, are missing in the business. Right now I have, I'm actually interviewing dispo people. Like I'm going to add a dispo guy to the team soon. So
yeah. I think when we talked, like one of the things that you do well is just like you're like, okay, here let me try to figure out what I need to do, and you just grab something and you just obsess over it and do it. So it's like KPIs. I remember like at the Denver event, you were showing me your entire sheet, like how you mapped it out. You're like, okay, this is what I need to do. I just need to do this plan. And you're like, in order to do this plan, I need to get a lead manager. I need more cold callers, and I'm gonna need to hire a dispo person here. And then like you basically like obsessed over it, and you're like, how do I like plan out like what I think I need to do? And then now like you're seeing this plan come to fruition, whereas like now like you're like, I need to hire a dispo person. Like, why do you feel like you need to hire a dispo person for right now?
I mean, right now it's like so obvious to me that like for me to scale, there's 2 things that you need in the business, which is more leads and more people, like, team, like a bigger team, because you can't handle all the leads if you don't have enough people, to get in touch with those leads. And then you can't scale if you don't have enough leads. So the lead generation and adding someone to the team is definitely like crucial when it comes to that. And that's pretty much what was missing. So like for me, I always had that kind of like thought in my head, like, I got to save up enough money if I'm not going commission only with my next hire, in order to hire that person. And I feel like that's something that actually slowed me down a little bit from actually taking it to the next step. But at the same time, after going
Like
through so
the
much
commission
credit card,
only or the base? Like what slowed you down?
to hire someone, is just saving up some, more money into hiring the whatever lead manager, acquisition, whatever the role is, because I kept hearing it's good to at least have like 3 to 6 months of their base, before you hire, whatever, 30,000 or whatever on the side for that.
Save the money, yeah.
So, I knew as soon as I get that next person, it's not only going to help me focus on something else to expand and scale the business, but at the same time, like, after being in credit card debt, man, like, I'm not planning on ever going back to it. I'll be in whatever other debt you want to call it, but not credit card debt. Like, I fucking had it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think I just like can't, like, it's to me to see like it's just really cool to like watch someone who's been able to, like, because I at one point in time I dated a girl who like got into credit card debt or whatever, and it was like, it's like really challenging to get out of, because like the interest payments are insane. So unless you figure out a way to like make like a large amount of income in a pretty short time, like, you're just gonna pay a ton of money into like to those institutions, and like the fact that you're able to do it is like kudos.
But listen, like that is, I'm not gonna lie, having good credit and having those large amount of credit card limits helped me throughout that. So that is something that kind of helped me,
for sure.
Because I started with 20,000 in debt. I quit my full-time job just so I can focus on real estate. And every month I need to invest into whatever marketing I was using back then, and skip trace for lists. And for 5 months, I'm not getting one deal. I'm like, the debt is just adding and adding and adding. So it was crazy. I had a deal that was, it was still 10 out of the biggest deal. It was 43K net to me, that came in, and, it felt really good. And I wiped all the credit cards at one, like, just like this.
Just like boom, zero.
So, but the thing is, man, like, that's not what's gonna really matter at the end of the day. Like, your mindset to that is what really matters. Like, for me, it's like, if I get to that position, I'm still not gonna be like losing my mind and like depressed or anything like that, because at the end of the day, like, none of that shit matters. Like, what really matters is how you feel. Like, it's just like, I look at like, when I look at like any like money or paper, bank account, cash, all that stuff, it's literally a game. At the end of the day, it is a game. Like, it's like Monopoly, whoever has the most houses wins. But at the same time, it doesn't mean anything, man. It really does not. You can go hiking and whatever, skiing and going on rock climbing and all that stuff. Even if you don't have a penny, like, it doesn't matter. Like,
dude, I know people who literally, when I travel and go to South America and like to these remote places, the people I meet there are like, "How long are you traveling for?" "I don't know. I quit my job like 8 months ago. I'll probably run out of money in like a year, so I'll go back working then." It's like, that's just like how people live their life. A lot, you can do it, whatever. Like, you just got to do what makes you happy. I feel like at the end of the day,
dude, I'll tell you what. Like, when I got that biggest deal, man, I'll describe how I felt. For the first 10 minutes, it was more like, that was for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
After those 10 minutes, I just looked at my bank account and I just saw a little bit of a higher number of 43,000. Nothing freaking changed, bro. And that's really what it is. Because I thought that I'm gonna feel like something, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at least like that's an experience that I learned at this point from that. So,
honestly, like, yeah, like, it's there obviously is pain and like pleasure that comes with money, and like there is like that dopamine hit and crash. Like you lose money, you make money. Like you do ebb and flow with it, but it's such a temporary thing. Like my friend bought a Lamborghini like 4 months ago, and he's like, it's been 30 days since I've owned my Lamborghini, and it's officially just a car now. It's like no longer a Lamborghini. It's just a car.
Yeah.
And that's just what he drives. And it's funny, but that's how everything is. Like even, I don't know, anything you ever get, like you go to a new house, get a new apartment, whatever. It's cool for the first week or two, and then after that, you're just like, well, I live here, and this is like a nice view, and I appreciate it, but it doesn't make me feel anything. So, Ben, like, what makes you feel something like on a regular basis? Like, what makes you tick?
What makes me tick?
Yeah,
you're getting into the details.
Get into the details.
I mean, listen, like don't get me wrong. I like cars. I haven't bought my dream car, but that's not gonna make
What's
me
your dream
tick.
car?
Like, I mean, I don't like. Here's the thing. Like, if I were to be like less like a billionaire, I wouldn't like buy a Lamborghini. Like right now, my dream car is like a Corvette, like a Stingray C8. It looks like a Ferrari, basically.
It's sick. It's a sick car.
Just like 5 times less the price.
Yeah.
But whatever. What makes me tick? I mean, dude, I really got into like the spiritual life. Like, like what makes me, it's just being grounded and really just having that peace in my mind. That's all I really need. Being with my family, being positive and happy in there, and not being distracted and mind fucked with negative thoughts. That's really all I need when it comes to like to that. I don't really feel like I need anything crazy in my life. Yeah, having experiences and abundance and being able to do things from my financial situation and have that financial freedom to live the lifestyle I want, that makes me tick. Like,
yeah,
nothing materialistic. It's great to have things, right? But like at the same time, like, I don't know, I got to, an understanding that, what really matters to me in life, and I'm 28 years old. Like, I guess I learned that in a more humbling way at a younger age. You're also young, so what the hell? Yeah.
But what did you learn? Like, you obviously had a shift in perspective. Like for me, I just had this shift. Really, like I would say it started in 2023, where I had this shift of like, okay, I wrote down in 2022 all the best things, all my best memories from every month. And it was maybe total up to about 50, 60 things from different trips, experiences, moments, you name it, whatever it was. And the best 3 things I had were when I was going on crazy adventures with my friends. And those are the best trips I had and the best moments of my entire year. There was not like there was only out of all like the 50 or 60 things I wrote down, maybe 5 or 6 of them were business oriented. Like getting to go to speak at an event, go on certain podcasts, that kind of stuff. Other than that, like those were like very, very few things. So it's like, for me, I realized in 2023 that was what was most important to me. And like, then it really took me until this year to really like start to make that shift in my life and in my goals. To where like my goal this year is to take 45 days off to go and travel. I'm going to take 3 weeks off at one time and just to go do all these different things so I can get more life experiences.
Yeah.
And one of the things that like I noticed is, and the reason why I think like there's 2 sides to life, it's like you have 2 sides to the barbell. It's like you got the side where people don't work and they just kind of go and travel and do all this stuff. And you got people who only work. And it's like, that's the dichotomy. Yeah. And so one of my best friends, actually 2 of my best friends, spent an entire year not working and just traveling. They went from working extremely hard, multifamily real estate, single family real estate, made passive income, hit their goal. And they're like, I'm going to take a year off and see what happens. And I saw both of them have like good experiences, but like not like the best year of their life. They're like, I'm not fulfilled in any way, shape.
I'll tell you why though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because we're humanly designed to work. Like they're probably anxious. They were anxious and they needed to work. Like that's probably what happened.
They just wanted to do something, like make progress.
I'm sure. Yeah. I actually had that conversation with my fiance last night.
Yeah.
It's funny that we're talking about this. Yeah. And, we were just saying like, if we were not to work at all, what we were doing, we would just be bored, right?
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of purpose, some sort of mission that you gotta, figure out with yourself. And that's pretty much what, I guess answers your question when it comes to what makes me tick. It's basically my, your purpose. What, like, yeah, we're here to make money when it comes to wholesale real estate, but at the end of the day, like that financial freedom that we're getting from it is what's going to allow us to do what really matters in our mind and in our life, So like, so that's pretty much what I kind of like, that's one of the next goals for me is to be able to, I already have the lifestyle I want, and luckily with this, we can work from anywhere now and it's remote. But that's, I'm trying to take it to closer to your level here and be able to get on a podcast and from, I don't know where, in any mountain in the world and just, you get my point. So
yeah, what do you want to do? Like, you obviously work to get like to make money and to be able to do experiences and like to, live a good life. Like obviously, I don't know if you want a family or not, but like you need to make money for a family and you need to make money.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely, my future family, whenever I have kids, hopefully soon, is definitely something that, I'm going to put a lot of my attention to. So yeah, like having that financial freedom and being able to have experiences with them is something that, I'm looking forward to. So that's definitely part of my, I would call it a new purpose that I'm looking forward to have. But at the same time, like the way I look at like things in the world right now, like I'm not even planning to send like my future kids to school. They might as well just travel with me, whatever. We'll figure out how we can manage the time for me to be able to pull out, to work wherever that is. And, if I need to, but, that's another story though. Like,
yeah, there's that's a lot of unknowns too. Let's bring it back to real estate. Cause I think I could talk about this stuff for days. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, same.
When it comes to like doing deals, what has like been, do you have any like crazy deals that you've done where you're like, oh, I cannot believe we did that, or just the story is like kind of wild?
Tomorrow I have a closing and it was the hardest deal I've had. It's only a 10K deal. And it's amazing that I get to say that because there's people that dream of 10K. And I'm just looking at that as a really normal like type of thing. And that's what's amazing about this business. That's the beauty of it. It has been the hardest deal. And one of the reasons is because the buyer backed out. And I haven't had a buyer that backed out. I only had sellers that had issues or backed out, right? Yeah. So he had his EMD in, 45-day closing. He was more of the retail buyer, supposed to be like a close to a 20K spread. It was supposed to be with that original buyer. He wanted to start doing work on the property. It was a solid buyer. I got it from someone I knew. And he had like surgeries and life-threatening situations along the way, and he figured that out. There are holidays, Christmas and all that. It's supposed to close on the 29th. Sorry. And then the day before closing, he's not communicating with the title company, and we're like, what is going on? And he got healthy since those surgeries. He has a partner that's also like helping and managing the stuff. The partner is not communicating. We try to harass them from different ways and try to get an answer. Yeah. Finally, we get in hold of them, and they're like, they're clueless. And it was crazy. Like, it was really crazy because he wanted to originally even start doing work on the property. What happened is he had too many closings going on, and it affected our deal. Now, here's the crazy part, though. The seller moved out and already moved to Arkansas. Oh. And he needed the funds to send the same day. So we're in a situation where that's affecting the seller's life. And I'm like losing my shit because that's the last thing I want to do. Like, we're trying to help someone here. Forget about my funds, my profit here. Let's just make the guy like survive. And he needed the funds badly. He didn't get the funds. The weekend passes. The buyer says, I'm going to try to pull this off. Tuesday comes. He can't do it. And he comes up with this idea. I'm going to do like some owner financing until the closing and send $53K escrow 53K into escrow, and then we'll get that to the seller and then close 3 weeks later.
Okay.
2 days later, he backs out. He says, I can't pull it off. He was supposed to get a private lender. And he says, we can't pull it off. I'm sorry.
Damn.
I'm losing my mind, bro, because the seller, I felt so bad for the seller.
Yeah, for sure.
He's literally in a hotel. He has all the movers from Florida moved to Arkansas, and he's losing his mind. And I'm just trying to figure this out. Somehow I found a buyer, and through someone I know, and he put 53K into escrow, which is not common, right? It has to be someone who has cash, really like has cash. And then it's going to close tomorrow, and that's just going to add up to the closing. So I don't know how I pulled it off, but man, it has been really insane.
Yeah, dude, that's like the worst thing ever is when like something bad happens like that and it affects the seller situation, because the whole reason they sign with you is for the simplicity. And when you pull it off almost all the time, but like when you can't, it just sucks.
I was able to get him 8 more K, like to him, like some from the EMD from the other buyer that stayed, and then I didn't have to. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. And then we just took some out from the assignment fee. So still walking with 10K, but at the end of the day, as long as the seller, is not screwed and he gets his funds, like that's really what, at the end of the day is the right thing to do. So
yeah, I don't disagree with you. How was his reaction? Was he okay with everything? Like, how'd you handle the situation? Like
that's the hard part, because he was pissed, man. He hung up on me on the phone. He screamed, he yelled, he cried. He's crying to me on the phone, and what can I do? He doesn't even know that I'm the one that's been trying my best to help him this whole time, and I tried to explain it to him. I told him the lender messed up. It wasn't me. So there's not much I can do, and I told him besides doing my best, and that's what I've been doing this whole time. And because I'm an over communicator, there's people like that you work with anywhere in the business that sometimes don't communicate. They just like emails or whatever. I'm just calling. Just give me an answer. I don't want to be hanging in the air here,
Yeah.
So that's what happened, man. He was really upset. Tomorrow it should be done.
So that was like the 29th to tomorrow. So that's like 2 weeks of him having to just like kind of figure it out. That's tough, dude. Damn.
He ended up moving. He ended up going to Indiana. He was in Arkansas. He moved all the stuff. They moved all the stuff from Indiana from Arkansas to Indiana. I don't know what it is, man. But sorry to cut you. I don't know what it is, man. But there's a reason for everything, and who knows if the place that he's supposed to move to in Arkansas maybe is gonna get like fucked or something would happen there, and it's a good reason that this actually happened and he moved to Indiana. That's how I look at things, and hopefully.
So why? What did you? I mean, you probably didn't get to this. He probably wasn't super stoked to talk about why he's moving away from Arkansas into Indiana. Did he say or?
He didn't get into it. I didn't really.
Yeah, that's
feel like
crazy.
Asking. It was just too much going on.
It's like there's no reason to ask that. Just is what it is. That's crazy. Okay, that's a pretty crazy deal. Wow, that's sick. Okay, so let's talk about this year. Like, what are your goals for 2024?
Well, financially, hit that 1 mil is definitely that goal. Definitely one of them is to hit the 100K month, which I'm hoping to happen in one of the next few months. Hopefully it's February.
So looking like it's lining up to be February?
It looks like there's a good chance. Just need to get a few more opportunities, but we're getting there. So there's definitely time. So on our side, finish building up the team to a way that I can be on the CEO spot and just managing the business and overlooking it and not dialing anymore, because I'm kind of tired, man.
Kind of burning out, just making calls all day.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, after doing something for so long every day, it's like you want to do something else at one point. So like, like I'd rather have someone else do it. And that's a great thing that I learned from the mentorship is really just managing your time better. Like really, that's like the main like thing is how to delegate things to someone else to do instead of you doing it, especially the things that you don't want to do.
I think people don't like take that into account enough because you don't have more hours in the day. The only way you can make more money is by making more money in an hour. So the only way to make more money in an hour is you can't work more, so you have to just do better things with your time. And if you don't like doing a task, you're probably not going to do it very well for very long. And I think people don't like look at that.
So I had that question in the Denver event. What's your dollar per hour? And that at first I'm like, what does that even mean? Like,
what'd you take away from the Denver event? What was like one of your biggest takeaways?
First of all, that event I think led to me even getting to that 78K month, because whatever happened there, it was not a mistake that I got that big month after, 2 months after. And just being around those people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, and I was pretty much, I would say, on the lowest tier from everyone there. Everyone had like a team for the most part, or at least a lead manager back then. And I'm just like, I can't wait to get to that point already. So that's definitely like motivated the hell out of me, inspired me, and just I took a few things from each person there, besides the presentation, like, and by the way, that I was literally crippled that whole event because of that basketball day.
Oh yeah, you hurt yourself, didn't you?
It was a 45-minute Uber drive. I get there. It's a little cold. All good. I come with my Luca jersey, ready to break some ankles. I'm like, all right, let's, break some ankles and get to work and get some, real estate, knowledge. Dude, I was a little bit hurt before that on, my IT band there. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stretch, get me feeling good, and then start bawling. And somehow I went to the wrong address. I got there an hour late, didn't warm up, joined in for one game, balled everyone out, got the behind the back pass, had fun, and then I'm just limping after because, I didn't warm up. And then I just, it wasn't fun after that. Like, you saw me at the rock climbing the other day. I couldn't even do it because I was hurt.
That's not fun.
But now it's healed.
I will say you were really good at basketball.
I mean, dude, I'm not saying this to be cocky, but I got mad skills. I'm aware of that. But that's the amount of times. That's the amount of like time that I put into it, and that's how I knew that, because I had that time that was put into something already. I knew, like, for sure, all I knew to do is put the time into real estate. And that's, that's, I think, the most challenging part for me when it comes to the business or any business. Like, from what I learned, at least, it's having patience. Like, I just want to succeed so bad, and I know it can't just happen tomorrow. And I know I need to install different things into the business, if it's people, if it's marketing, if it's whatever. But I need to just do it step by step. So that's, I think, the hard part, because there's so many things that you can get good at and need to be, especially like a business owner. If it's get your mindset right, if it's the skill, if it's sales, if it's people, if it's managing people, hiring, all this stuff that gives us a headache. And just wanting to do that, but at the same time, like, the patience, man, like that's really something that I remind myself. Look, you're gonna have your nice car sooner or later. It's just a car.
Yeah, one of the things I always like on that, because I'm super impatient too, and I remember this in sports specifically, being like, man, why can't I just be as good as these guys who've been doing it as good as the best guys? And then like, they're like, oh, well, they've been doing it for 10 years. You've been doing it for 2. I'm like, well, that doesn't matter. That's not fair. That, I should work harder. I could do it. But what I think about too with business, I think you already alluded to, is like, if you zoom out 10 years, like, am I going to be successful in 10 years? Yes or no? And the answer is going to be yes. It's like, why does it really matter? I just enjoy my life while I have it today.
Yeah, I mean, you should.
I agree. I agree. Um, Ben, this has been good. What do you feel like has been the most impactful hire for your business?
A mentor, no doubt.
Mentor. Go back to it.
No doubt, man. That's literally the most important part of the business. Have someone to hold your hand, but tell you what to do. That's all you can ask for, really. Like, forget the lead manager, the acquisition, the dispo. If you're clueless and you don't know how to figure out what's wrong in the business, you're just gonna waste time.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's the number one hire right there. And if you can hire him for free, even better. So that's what I did at first, and then with you guys, I'm happy to pay because it's even holding me accountable to put in the work, right? So like, that's what a lot of people do. Like, if I hear some people, they tell a friend, if I don't, just to hold themselves accountable, if I don't get in the morning and run on a jog at 7 a.m., I'm going to give you $1,000 or $500, $200, whatever, just to hold them accountable to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like money. You losing money is kind of like how to hold yourself accountable. So paying a mentor is actually not losing money, it's getting you money. And that's what a lot of people miss. And it's that fear of really getting into losing money. But
yeah, I think the investment is just hard for some people because the outcome. Also, like with mentorship and coaching, I think there's a lot of people out there who aren't like necessarily good, or like there's a lot of times that like it's just like maybe you buy the wrong thing or whatever. Like when you're looking for a mentor, because you've had two people who it seems like work out, myself being one of them. What would you say are the biggest things that you're looking for to make sure this is actually going to be the right fit?
At first I would always have that rule of thumb that if someone recommends me someone, like in a way of like, I know that person that recommends me, then I'll probably like trust that person immediately. With you, I just saw your ad on Instagram and I trusted you because it's more like intuition. Like I felt something that I can say, okay, this guy knows this stuff, but at the same time, you could kind of like feel.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the question?
There's like, what do you look like? How do you? I mean, you're kind of going down it. Like, it's like, how do you choose to trust a mentor or like someone who you're talking to, like being like, I want to hire them as my mentor. Like, how do you trust them?
I mean, dude, it's really just one, knowing their success, but that's not enough. It's just looking into their, following them maybe for a certain amount of time to trust them, to know that these guys are the real deal. And just asking questions, man. Like I would just do my research. That's what I would say. I mean, why would I pay someone that, I think is not good enough? That's just stupid.
Yeah.
No?
Literally, there's so much stuff on social media now. Like, what I'm realizing is that if like everyone who we work with has watched my YouTube or consumed my content to a degree, and I believe that's just because that's like the way you show that, hey, I know what I'm talking about. If you want to grow your business, and like should
I had right before the call with you guys. What do you call it? Like the
sales
interview,
call?
the sales call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before you guys, I had a call with Courtney the cowboy, the guy that has ads, and he says, I'll give you inbound ad. I'll get you inbound leads, and you don't need to pay anything until we close. Dude, we get on the call, and he said that, and then he's like, "Yeah, but the ad spent is gonna be on you." I'm like, "Bro, are you serious? Like, could have said that and saved us time. Like, that's kind of wrong." But regardless, I didn't get the same feel of like certainty that I got from you guys because he was more like pressuring the sale. Like with you guys, it's like, all right, like this is where you're at. If you feel like this is something that can help you, but at the same time, like I'm not being pressured. It's kind of like a sales call with the seller. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
But you guys, I just felt that I could trust you guys more.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows, like, you see how many people are joining now, like the Discord and all that. Like, I saw a lot of more people join. So
yeah. Who would you say is like a good person like to join LevelUp? Like, who would you say is like the right person?
Well, someone who, I mean, that's your answer, man.
Well, who would you say from your experience? Like you went through the program, like you got, you worked with Braden, worked with the team, all part of the community. Like what kind of like business, like where do you think like someone's business would need to be at in order for like what things would they
Just
want
not be at the newbie level. Like have get a few deals. I would say nothing crazy. At least not be like clueless. That's what I would say. Um, just so you can get your foot into the door, and then I would say you could join, because like what happened to me before I hired the first person, the lead manager. I could have done so many things in the mentorship, which for me was 6 months when I joined. Now I think it's less, 4 months or whatever, but maybe I'm wrong. But I wanted to do so many things that I couldn't do yet until I hired that person. So it kind of like put me in a position where like, until I don't close a few more deals to hire that person, I can't take these things to the next step and implement them in my business. So that's why, someone who's just starting is probably not a good fit,
Yeah.
because there's acquisition. Yeah.
Someone who can like invest either time or money into their business, basically.
So yeah, that pretty much answers the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally makes sense. Well, sweet dude. Where can people find you if they want to reach out and ask questions?
You can look me up on Instagram. I am Ben Myers. Myers has 2 E's. You can ask me questions. I'm happy to help whoever has questions. I know a lot of people are busy and are not able to help, but I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has or help in any way I can. Not going to waste my time on you guys, but I'll help you out if you really are serious.
He'll teach you basketball if you pay him $1,000 an hour.
You can watch my videos there. I don't have time for that now. But my dollar per hour went up, man.
yeah, dude. Let's go, dude. You got to keep measuring that thing. Yeah. I'm actually doing mine every month. I'm going to measure my revenue per hour and just see how it changes over time. But Ben, I appreciate you coming on here, dude. This was great.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the help, all the time, and looking forward to staying in touch.
For sure, man. For sure. We'll see you guys next time.